Worldbuilding, also known as my hyperfixations got the better of me, so I decided to reenact my version of Genesis. Or worldbuilding. Now, the process of developing a detailed and plausible fictional world for a novel or story, especially in science fiction, fantasy, and video games. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to write a story before, whether it be a novel, a script, or what have you. But even if you've tried writing a short story at least once, you'll probably realize that writing a coherent, well thought out, meaningful story is really, really hard. And I have to get this out. AI doesn't write. It scours the web for what other people have written, strings them together based on algorithms and inner functions no one actually understands, and then word vomits the blandest lines of text imaginable. LLMs are a half-decent proofreaders that can use to bounce ideas at them, quickly research sources, or find niche info and generate rough ideas, but they cannot give you a coherent plot where characters are not just cardboard cutouts being moved about by the hands of an abominable intelligence we do not comprehend, and which is increasingly looking to be ever more likely to be the cause for a complete and utter downfall. They cannot comprehend the ideas of emotions, anger, joy, love, sadness. They cannot write anything original as they're a language model, i.e., they literally require the input of others to come up with anything. So no, writing, good writing, still requires skill, and not just a skill, but they still have general skills. It's not enough to break away from the eternally esoteric online lingo that's designed to reduce you to an ape rubbing feces over yourself. No, you need to breathe sentences and paragraphs. You need to be scribbling plot and character ideas into your 10th battered notebook, unless I had to go through 2020 to 2023 while already in the middle of a midlife crisis. And then you need to know the real things, like what is a door? What are doors made of? What is the history of doors? What's the philosophical theory of doors, and why is door? So, you take all that brain baggage that would cause normal people to have an epileptic seizure, and you multiply it by 100 with a terminal case of hyperfixation. Welcome to Worldbuilding. World, people, elements, places, conflict, the building blocks. World. The first part to be built is, of course, the world. So I have to do some world building. This is where a story will actually take place. It doesn't have to actually take place on a world like a planet or even in reality itself. But a story, by definition, takes place somewhere. It could be a vast magical realm, a singular township, an orbital space station, or a faraway alien planet, or whatever the hell Xenoblade Chronicles writers were smoking when they thought up this. People. Just as a story has to take place somewhere, a story needs someones to be in that somewhere. Who the hell wrote this script? Alright, I did. These people could just be plain old boring humans or interdimensional magical aliens. It doesn't actually matter what they are. What matters is what they do in the story, and for the story, in the world, and for the world. Wow, that's a lot of rhyming. Elements. What exists in your world. You know, the actual things beside the world and the people, like the buildings, the trees, the magic, technology, all of the MacGuffins and artifacts and whatever gizmos. Places where the characters live and go to, you know, the nations and the lands and planets and all that landy stuff. The places that are in and on the world. Conflict. The thing that will actually decide if you have a good story. Seriously, if you're not just doing world building as a fun hobby and are actually intending to write a proper plot, please remember that you need interesting conflicts. This can be the obvious, of course, such as, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
So let it be war.
Or it could be cultural conflicts, political conflicts, trade conflicts, ecological conflicts, societal conflicts. Basically, what problems do the people in your world have? Diseases, corruption in their society's political systems, Traffic, lots and lots of traffic. Oh, for the love of all that is good, why did we invent cars? And then there's the subcategories to these main categories, like geography or cosmology for world, or culture, race and religion for people, magic and tech for elements, cities and nations for places, and war and intrigue for conflict, etc., etc., etc. That's a lot. And that's just the framework creating a world. These things interconnect, from the people who make the places to the elements created by the people in those places to the conflicts those people get up to. And you have to think and manage this on a continental, worldly, solar system, or galactic scale, depending on the scope of your novel. Contained in this sack of wrinkled, pink, muscled bag of meat in your skull we call a brain. And so you write it down. You write about the world. It's always vague, ephemeral, and almost esoteric in the beginning. A world of shifting realms and the ghosts of bygone kingdoms on the winds. The worlds of technology so advanced that it creates wonders that dazzle and horrify in the same breath. Worlds of vast megacities or verdant plains stretching far beyond. Then you begin setting the pillars of the world, the rules. Every world has rules. I'm talking about things that are so pervasive that are equal to the laws of gravity and time. Wizards always wear wizarding hats and use staves. Advanced AI always go rogue and try to kill everyone. These don't have to be the rules of your world. Maybe the wizard of your world wears a fancy trench coat and uses a Smith & Wesson 500. And maybe the AI is just really introverted and terrible at socializing. Either way, the best worlds have clear and well thought out rules that define it. Then there's the themes to the world, whether we're talking grimdark, high fantasy, soft sci-fi to hard sci-fi, hopeful or cynical, dark or lighthearted, and on and on and on. And as we shape this world beyond ours, as we plot down the landmarks and the people, as we map out its geography and its thematic resonances, the way a musician fills out the notes to a song, we are faced with a question in the middle of it all. Why? Why is it that since the dawn of humanity we have so often tried to imagine a world apart, a world like ours, a world where people live, dream, love, and laugh and inevitably die just as we do, but exist in environments of the fantastical, of the so technologically advanced that they seem to completely shatter our understanding of science and physics? Speaking personally, I can't lie and say that there isn't some element of escapism. Sometimes it almost feels like a sanctuary, being able to enter another realm and being able to shape it as you please with mere words written upon a page. A home away from home, always waiting and always happy to meet you again after a day with the same existential anxieties that plagued you the day, month, and year before. Desire might come in leaps and spurts, but the desire is always there. Besides, escapism is just fun. I grew up with a Bionicle toy line.
Hunt the danger and protect the inhabitants from a mysterious force. They are the Toa Metru, extremely adept, powerful, equipped, and ready for any challenge. They know their duty, but can they stop this new faceless opponent? Bionicle, a mystery to be revealed. Each set sold separately.
I still have vivid memories of creating my own abomination mocks, which just means my own creation if you didn't know, and making them play fight while imagining some Avengers Endgame level battle in my head. As I grew older, instead of, growing out of it, it evolved. These cobbled together robot warriors need an actual world to be in, and so I began imagining that world, the places they do battle in. Why were they doing battle? Who were they battling for? Where they came from to do battle? It was all literally just to come up with elaborate and convoluted reasons for them to be fighting.
So let it be war.
But without even realizing it, I was creating a world with lore, realized places, and cultures. Thing is, I didn't have a name for what I was doing, and I certainly wasn't good enough to write it down for a long while. And when I did decide to finally pick up the pen and write, That's a story for another time. First draft. But as I've grown and had time to think about why I, and I think many others, are so enamored of world building, the reason why a lot of us might have dedicated ourselves to creating a world on paper, and why a lot of us enjoy reading fictional works that feature massive worlds with pages upon pages of lore, is that exhilarating rush of discovery. That thing over the horizon, just a step beyond sight, just barely within reach. When we were watching Discovery as kids and we learned more about just how massive and truly complex our world really is, from its atmosphere to its geography to the great continents and islands, the wildlife, the very people who call this blue planet home, that sense of discovery and wonder of seeing a world that was bigger than us. It's overwhelming. It's existential sometimes, realizing how small you are against something so awesomely massive. But there's a comfort as well, knowing that you are part of something bigger, that you're not alone. And the world building, that act of building a world to be inhabited by fictional people and by stories in a way, allows us to feel that childhood experience all over again, to experience that discovery. Even if we're the ones who are writing, there's a genuine hot-blooded rush that you experience as you get that aha moment while you're bent over your notebook or your computer, I use both, and go on a sudden spree of pen strokes or button clacking. I write to discover. I write to uncover. I write to meet my ghosts. I write to begin a dialogue. I write to imagine things differently. And in imagining things differently, perhaps the world will change. And that's that. That's all there is to it. A desire to have a world that we have the power to change, filled with aspects of who we are, marked all across with pieces of ourselves, with fingerprints of our soul. We all want to leave a piece of ourselves on the world, something to be remembered for, something that says, yes, this person lived, they were born, they lived, they were here. And building a world, an entire universe within a universe, one that exists in that great pink blob in your skull, that's practically touching the divine. Oof. Thank you for watching this part essay, part stream of consciousness, part channel intro. This channel was an idea I've had bouncing about in my mind for a long while. Never really had the time or the will to commit to until now. So here it is. Of course, if you actually enjoyed this and didn't tap out halfway through because you were listening to a madman's half-lucid rant, I'd love it if you could like, subscribe, and comment below your thoughts and what you'd expect from a channel like this. Over and out. Okay, this isn't part of the script, but my throat is killing me. This is the longest I've recorded anything. I'm gonna drink a lot of water now.